We're going to have the panelists introduce themselves, and their first question is, what inspired you to join the Black Female Project? And we're going to start with Che.
Hello, I'm Che Abram. I work in higher education, and what inspired me to be a part of this project was realizing I had a story to tell.
My name's Kira Allen. I'm a poet, an artist, an activist, and an advocate. I worked many years with Che in higher education, and I've spent the last 3 years focused on writing a poetic memoir. So that's been a big journey, and it's been such a blessing to have this project be sort of dovetailing with that, because there's a lot of healing that needed to happen from leaving that space, and continues to happen. And for me, it was never a question. Like, the Black Female Project is so needed and so necessary, and I wish that every single one of us could just, like, for a while we were meeting every month, and if I could, I would like meet every week, because we just need it. We just need a place to dismantle so much that's happening in really hostile environments. And I wish that that wasn't true, but it really is.
Hi everyone, my name is Danya Frink. I am a digital marketer, and I'm also a visual artist. And when I first learned about the concept of this project from Precious, I knew that I had to be a part of it, because I am very fortunate to have mentors, advisors, and Black women, including my mother, who's recording me back there, show me how to navigate those spaces that aren't so friendly for Black women. And I have a duty and obligation to chart the course for the women behind us. So had to be a part of this.
My name is Fern Stroud. I am an IT professional, currently doing program management in the space of big data, which is a big thing right now, but whatever. What inspired me to be a part of this project is the whole talk about diversity and inclusion in higher technology, and the lack of representation. So programs that I've seen kind of spark up in the Bay Area to provide this, to provide like the skills to get into the industry are there. However, there isn't a place to tell you what to do when you get there. So the Black Female Project was an opportunity to provide that next step guide to how to deal with the stuff that's gonna come your way, being a Black woman in corporate America.
Good evening. I am Erica Duke. I am an art teacher at West Oakland Middle School and a doctorate student at USF, first year. Very exciting. Yes. The reason why I am a part of Black Female Project, decided to join, Lady Danya, she called me or texted me. I think I was at work, and she just told me about this project, and the excitement in her voice excited me, and I was like, well, I will come after work. And I did, and it was just a warm space. It was very inclusive. I saw nothing but Black women, and so that was amazing to see. And I just continued to come. And being a young woman that's in pursuit of a career, I think it's very imperative and essential that you surround yourself around other Black women that are probably in pursuit but have gone that already experienced some of the things that I will experience soon and experiencing. So I'm just very grateful to be a part of Black Female Project.
So my name is Liz Williams, soon to be Thompson. Married. Name change. But so again, he was working on the project and probably listening to my stories when I would come home from work. And he was like, yeah, so you should call Precious. And at that point I was like, well, I'm good. I'm okay. And what came to be just truth for me was that I don't see black women in my workspace. I don't see black women who are bosses. I don't see black men who are bosses. I've never seen it. So for me to be pursuing something that I'm not able to actually tangibly see is a problem. And then all of the other stuff that goes on is a problem. And coming to this group, it was like, wow, we're all maybe in different companies, different industries. I'm in corporate finance. Say that to, anytime I say I'm in corporate finance, they say, what? How'd you get there? How'd you do that? And this group is that. We are smart. We go to school. We actually do, regular things. Like, black people aren't a caricature. We're not, I don't know. We'll get into that. But we have to come together as a community and find the healing amongst ourselves, because we're not going to find it amongst our counterparts, whether they're sympathetic or not. But there is a structure in place. It's very clear. And we need to help ourselves. We need to support each other. We need to bring each other up. And that was the ultimate goal, was to have a story to tell a young woman who was coming through this, how to navigate. And so we have to just do our part. And this is what the group did for me. So I was like, I have to do this because the girls need to know. We might not have all come from super conscious households where everybody was talking about these things. And we have to do our part to try to give back. So that's it.
So very powerful commitments and powerful women sharing their stories through the Black Female Project. And in the interest of time, I'm going to integrate several questions. So Liz started to go a little bit into what is it like when she talks about who she is as a professional. And you heard reflections of that echoed throughout the panelists. So the next question would be, based upon this experience, how has it changed you and moved you or affected you in ways where when you go into your workplace, you're centered differently?
I think when we started it, I was a little distressed at work and actually was ready to quit my job. And so coming to sit with women who were experiencing the same thing across different industries let me know I wasn't crazy, but also extremely empowering. My day-to-day job is to guide African American and Hispanic students through health science programs, and to be their support. And I felt like I was losing my ability to be their support, and be that strength that they needed. So going through this process and sitting in on the conversations and hearing stories from the East Coast and things just truly re-energized my spirit. So I kind of go into work every day now with a new mission and a new insight and some new goals. And most importantly, feeling like I'm a whole lot of Black girl magic every day.
So I think there was a moment, one of our last conversations, and right before I went in to film the video that you all saw, where I was breaking down in tears because I said, I no longer feel like a professional. I had left that structured environment, and I'm not getting a regular paycheck for what I do. The things that I love the most aren't valued in the same way in society, and they're actually the things that are so desperately needed. And it was a really, really interesting moment that going in to film this video and having to articulate that actually I am a professional. What I do is valuable. I am a good person. Like all of those things that sort of got dismantled in this very toxic environment suddenly transformed in the midst of an afternoon conversation. And it stayed with me in a way that through all the ebbs and flows and me trying to figure out how this really works and how I make a living, I hold on to that because it's actually documented now, and I have to somehow honor that.
I'll just say really quickly, I stepped into participating in this project with the thought that I would be giving, contributing, sharing, not realizing how much I'd be receiving. That piece is very critical because, and I think Precious alluded to this earlier, I felt like I was going to counseling whenever I was meeting with my sister friends and talking through things that may have been happening at work, things that may have happened previously that I hadn't quite processed or talked about. And for me, that was the ultimate gift that I was not even expecting to receive. And so I just want to make sure to call that piece out because though, I mean, I don't like speaking for others, but I can say that we all came with the intention of giving and sharing and contributing to the development of our young sisters, not realizing how much we'd be receiving.
The project for me provided an avenue to see things from a different lens. So now when I go into work, it's not as bad as it was. I see it as my lens to be able to provide the lesson learned in going through what I'm going through and making sure I take note of things that happen on a daily basis and understand that this is yet another building block to improve the next person who's in that situation, maybe not to necessarily take the same road or path, but to know that, hey, this is what it is, this is how I did it, and you may encounter that at some point in time. So, you know, it totally changed the lens that I look at anything through now. You know, your interactions, the women here, you know, it's good to be around Black women who are doing things that you don't always see. You know, there's a lot of Black professional women out here, and we don't always get to interact with one another. So having that in my back pocket and being able to, you know, give a head nod when I see people at the BART station or embrace them, you know, it makes my day better. So, you know, that's how the project has changed me for sure.
The project changed me. I joined the project recently, after I graduated from Mills. I graduated in 2015. And so I'm just a school fanatic. I like school. But I had met with Precious after attending a few meetings, and we were just reviewing a submission, some writing that I was getting ready to, you know, submit. And kind of to echo what Danya said about it being sort of like canceling and you receiving so much, I wasn't expecting that. And so we had this meeting, and I hope you remember, I was crying to the woman, and she was probably like, well, I was wondering, like, I hope she don't think I'm just up here being emotional. Like, I feel a lot. So I was just, because what I had wrote to her, basically, and I said, Black women do have a warm heart. And I know there were times when I was undergrad and just growing up as a Black girl and being in a household where we didn't really talk about race, or we didn't really talk about going to college. I just did it because I knew to do it. I just did it because my mama didn't do it. I didn't see my daddy do it. My brothers, I didn't see my older brother did it, so I was like, I'm just going to do it. So growing up, I sometimes would have like a very cold heart, like anger. Like, I'm an angry Black girl, angry Black woman. But joining this group, it just made me realize I have a warm heart. I'm very loving, and I can spread that joy. I can spread that love that I embody, that I have. And I could blossom. I think everybody is a flower. Everybody in here is a flower to me. And so it just made me blossom in all my glory, as I always say, blossom, Black girl, blossom in all your glory. So it just allowed me to blossom in all my glory, and I'm still blossoming and growing. And so that's what the project is provided for me. It's allowing me to blossom and grow as the wildflower that I am.
So I work in finance. And after going through my writing, hearing other people's writing and stories, the biggest, I guess, impact it had on me and how I showed up was that it started a conversation, one, with other Black women in a different generation who, you know, would see us and say, oh, okay, well, we thought we did this thing for you, and this is what we were trying to do, and now this is what it is for you, you know, and who didn't have the realization that all the good work that was done is now kind of being undone in the corporate space, and all the things that my mom fought for, my dad fought for, you know, they're not sitting with me every day at work, and they're not going through that journey, so they don't understand it. So it brought them into the fold, and now they're like, wow. But then also at work, it makes me question people more. So when somebody, and Precious has read my writings, like, you know, they'll throw out the word ghetto. Or they'll, you know, the only conversation we can have is about curly hair. You know, it makes me stop and say, why? What is ghetto? Why are you asking me these questions? Or why are you, you know, making these statements? And you have no context. You don't understand what you're talking about, and in front of me. You know, it helped me have the courage. I think all of us felt more powerful after all of our meetings. And like sitting in a room full of, you know, white and Asian people who have been told this is what they should be doing, and you know, that they deserve it. It gave me kind of, it gave me more spirit to say I belong here too. And yeah, maybe I don't see, you know, my sisters and brothers in here in this room, but I'll be here for all of us, and I will check people. So.